Good morning, I'm Dan McClary of Tennessee Shakespeare Company. Welcome back to our Decameron Project. The date, April 2, 2020. Our theme, perseverance. On this date in history, in 1800, Beethoven led his premiere of his first symphony in Vienna. And I mention this because I hope you'll go back and take a look. About a month ago, and for me it was in the Boston Globe, but about a month ago they started publishing images of Beethoven's handwriting in his 16-string quartets. And if you don't know them, you very likely heard them playing. And he writes his own dynamics in his own handwriting in pencil, specifically around the pianissimo and fortissimo. And they haven't quite known what they've meant, and when they've seen them in decades, centuries past, they haven't published them. But we're discovering that they're important, as if, you know, we might find Shakespeare's own hand in his quartos or his folios, or we would want that information. So there you are. And on this date in 1805, Hans Christian Andersen was born. He's the author of The Ugly Duckling and Princess and the Pea. And also on this date, in 1932, James Joyce writes a famous letter. It goes on to become a preface for his book Ulysses, and he's writing this letter to Random House Publishing. His book Ulysses had been published, thank goodness, by the extraordinary Sylvia Beach at Shakespeare and Company in Paris. So it was around and about, but it had yet to be published in English, in the English-speaking world. And it had to pass through, as most things do in this country, litigation and through a judge. And I thought I might just read that to you if I haven't lost my place. Oh yes, here we go. Well, we're live. Here's something the judge said in his favorable ruling of the book Ulysses as not qualifying as being perverse and indecent. Just a bit. He writes, "Furthermore, Ulysses is an amazing tour de force when one considers the success which has been in the main achieved with such a difficult objective as Joyce set for himself. As I have stated, Ulysses is not an easy book to read. It is brilliant and dull, intelligible and obscure by turns. In many places it seems to me to be disgusting, but although it contains, as I have mentioned above, many words usually considered dirty, I have not found anything that I consider to be dirt for dirt's sake." Well, that would come in handy as a ruling later on in life. Here's just a bit from Ulysses, and yes, the children can stay tuned. From Joyce. "We are praying now for the repose of his soul, hoping you're well and not in hell. Nice change of air, out of the frying pan of life into the fire of purgatory. Does he ever think of the whole waiting for himself? They say you do when you shiver in the sun, someone walking over it. Callboy's warning, near you. Mine over there towards Finglas, the plot I bought. Mama, poor Mama, and little Rudy. The grave diggers took up their spades and flung heavy clods of clay in on the coffin. Mr. Bloom turned his face. And if he was alive all the time? Whew! By jingo, that would be awful. No, no, no. He is dead. Of course he's dead. Monday he died. They ought to have some law to pierce the heart and make sure, or an electric clock, or a telephone in the coffin, and some kind of canvas air hole, flag of distress. 3 days. Rather long to keep them in the summer, just as well to get shut of them as soon as you are sure there's no. The clay fell softer, begin to be forgotten. Out of sight, out of mind." In Shakespeare's as you like it. Well, there are these two shepherds out in the forest of Arden, Silvius and Phoebe. And Silvius quite famously pursues Phoebe, and methinks she lets herself be pursued. But then this new city dweller comes into the woods. It's Rosalind, but she dresses up as a boy, as Ganymede, and Phoebe falls for Ganymede, and Ganymede rejects her offers of love. And then in the woods, Phoebe instructs her Silvius to tell Ganymede. She says, "Good shepherd, tell this youth what it is to love." Silvius says, it is to be all made of sighs and tears. And so am I for Phoebe. It is to be made of faith and service. And so am I for Phoebe. It is to be all made of fantasy, all made of passion, all made of wishes, all adoration, all duty, all observance. It is to be all made of humbleness, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial, and all observance. And so am I for Phoebe. I persevered. Did you hear our woodpecker in the theater? We persevere in the theater. Well, I don't think it's giving something away to tell you that Phoebe and Silvius, well, they go off to their nuptial along with 3 other couples. But depending on the production you see, it's up to you to imagine whether they do indeed live happily ever after or not. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. I hope you're healthy. And if you know someone who would love to hear from you today, give that person a call, please. Much love to you. Goodbye.